Hello, my name is Philippa Hedger and I live in Bilth Road, just near Bilth. And this is my lovely studio. You can't really see it very well, but this is my studio that I've been teaching yoga in until quite recently, obviously, because of the COVID thing. So more recently, I've been teaching on Zoom and also doing some pre-recorded lessons like this for my students. And so I feel really just so chuffed to have been asked to run a little yoga class for the Radnor Fringe Festival. So just a few things to say beforehand. Very important that everybody really takes responsibility for themselves. Obviously, I can't see you, so I cannot take any responsibility for what you do or what happens to you. So it's really important that you are completely mindful about your own body and that you don't do anything I ask you to unless it feels absolutely right. So if anything I ask you to do feels just not right with your body, just don't do it and just find something else that does feel okay, that's of a similar thing. This is going to be a very gentle practice. I tend to work in a very gentle way. I'm kind of trying to aim my yoga at people who perhaps either just want to be very gentle anyway, or who maybe have some issues with their body and find the movement quite difficult. So this is aimed at everybody really, because those people who are more flexible can obviously take it a bit further, and hopefully it will be something that will be really possible for people who find that they have limited movement. So just to say as well before we start that I'm going to be suggesting that anybody who has difficulty with knees or backs or anything can use alternative things to help them. So this is a stool which can be used instead of going on to the knees. You can use this, and I will explain that to you. So if you have a problem with knees, find a stool or a chair. That's fine, I've got a chair here which we'll be using as well. And I will be talking about that as we go through. So, as I say, this is a very gentle practice, but do look after yourselves. And we're going to begin by sitting on the floor. So if that's difficult for you, again, sit on a chair or a stool. Just find a nice, comfortable seat like this. I'm going to sit on the floor. If that's possible for you, do that. I've got a really nice squishy block here. If you haven't got one of those, then a cushion is fine. And I'll just show you, I like to sit right on the edge of this. So my sit bones are on the ground, and it just gives me a lift in my lower back. And that's a really good way of doing it. Or you can just sit on it if that feels more comfortable. Okay, and I sit with crossed legs. You can sit like this, which is a sort of standard cross-legged position. I prefer to have my feet, both feet, like opposite each other here on the ground. So just find a seat that's comfortable. And we're going to begin by kind of landing. Let's land so that we actually just find ourselves here, present in this moment, right now. So if it feels comfortable to do so, you can close the eyes or lower the gaze. And we're just going to go inside for a few moments. Just become aware of your natural breath, in and out through the nose. Just being aware of how your body feels, perhaps having a little scan of your body. Perhaps being aware of your heartbeat, your pulse. Beautiful. So I'm going to make the sound of 3 ohms, which is a really beautiful way of kind of inviting ourselves to be really present and to be really here. It's kind of creating space for us to be here together. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can just listen. If you do want to, that's absolutely beautiful, and you can along with me. So I like to take the hands into prayer position in front of the heart, breathing in to begin. Beautiful, just feeling that vibration, being with that sound for a moment or two. Lovely. So I'm going to invite you now to come down onto your back. So we're going to lie down, take the cushion out of the way. We're going to lie down on the mat. I presume everybody's got some kind of a mat or a towel or a blanket. So we're going to lie down onto the mat with the feet on the mat behind the bottom. Okay, this is called semi-supine. So lying back down, finding a comfortable place for you, giving yourself a bit of a wriggle around, and having the feet not too close to the body, a little bit away, so that it feels comfortable. So you've got the ankles under the knees. And just be conscious of bringing the chin slightly down so that the throat is open. And we're just, for a moment or two, going to have the palms facing up, and we're just going to be here. Just being aware of the natural breath, being aware of the body, how it engages with the floor, the feet, the back of the head, the pelvis, the top of the back, and just being for a moment with that. So now we'll turn the hands over so the palms are face down, and this gives us a sort of solid base here in this position. And all we're going to do to begin with is start by just on the exhale, just lowering, taking the lower back to the ground. So exhaling and just tilting the pelvis and lowering the lower back to the ground. And then inhaling and just allowing the spine to come back to its natural place. Exhaling again, lowering down. Inhaling, allowing the spine to come back to its natural position. So just continuing this with your natural breath and just being aware of how the pelvis is sort of rolling on the sacrum, which is the bone at the back of the pelvis. So just working with that. And then the next time that you inhale, so at the moment I'm exhaling down, the next time you inhale with this, bringing the arms up and over the head like this, so that the hands come to the ground behind you. If you need to bend the elbows to make the hands reach, that's fantastic. And then exhaling again, same movement, but bringing the hands down so the lower back is going to the floor again. And then inhaling again. So we're sort of taking a much deeper inhale, expanding into the lungs. And then exhaling again, lowering that back down into the ground. Do that once more. So inhaling again. Expanding into the lungs, opening the shoulders. And then we'll come back to a resting position again in semi-supine. So we're going to do that again, but this time when we exhale, so we're going to inhale again, we're going to take the arms back. And then when we exhale, we're going to bring the right knee into the chest and give ourselves a really good squeeze. And then inhaling again, taking that foot back down, taking the arms to behind the head. And then exhaling the other knee into the chest, giving ourselves a really good squeeze. So we'll do that again on each leg. So inhaling, taking the arms out behind. Exhaling that right knee into the chest. Good squeeze there. Inhaling, arms up and behind the head. Exhaling, giving ourselves a really good squeeze on this leg. Then inhaling back out, and this time we're going to add a little bit to this. So we're going to exhale the leg in and then continue to exhale, and we'll take the arms down and we're going to exhale that leg straight. Then inhaling again, taking that leg down. Then exhaling, bringing that knee in and then taking it straight up. So we're actually just going to bring the arms straight down. Then inhaling back up again, the arms back up. Exhaling that right knee again, coming in and then going straight up. Don't straighten it unless it feels like that's the right thing to do. It may be that that knee needs to stay completely bent, like this, or it may be that you can straighten it, but just go with that. Beautiful. So we're going to do that once more on each side. So right knee coming in and then straightening. Inhaling back with the arms coming back over. Last time, exhaling the left knee in and straightening. And then we're just going to bring that knee back down. So I'm going to ask you now to just take both of your legs down so that they're out as far as they are. Point the toes and now bring the arms back up over the head. We're going into a nice stick pose here. This is a really good stretch. So stretching through the fingers, stretching through the toes. Beautiful. And then we're just going to slide both feet along the ground and take hold of the knees and give yourself a good old hug and a rock on the back. So just rocking onto the back, massaging the kidneys. Lovely. So now we're going to take one hand in each knee, okay? And we're just like this in a still position. Now what we're going to do is we're going to exhale and take the knees away from us until they meet in the middle and then bring them together. So we're taking circles. I'm keeping my big toes together. We're taking big circles with the knees, warming up the hip joints. Lovely. Do that once more this way. And this time we're going to go back out this way again, keeping the big toes together. And we are rotating the hip joints. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. You're following what I'm doing. Lovely. Then again, bring the knees into, give yourselves a little rock. So you've got your knees right into your chest. Lovely. And now what we're going to do is we're going to roll over to one side like this, and we're going to come into an all fours position. Now if kneeling is not okay for you, then sitting on the stool or the chair, either. And what we're going to do is we're going to be working with some spinal work here. So if you can't go on the knees, then sitting on something like this is an ideal height. Sitting on something, and we're just going to be doing inhaling and exhaling. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do that in kneeling. So you can just do that on the chair or the stool. If you're okay kneeling, then coming into all fours position, and we're going to get a good alignment here. So knees under the hips, hands slightly in front of the shoulders, okay? And all we're going to, and the tops of the feet down. So all we're going to do is we're going to inhale, looking forward and dropping the lower spine to the ground, which means that the tailbone lifts. Then exhaling, taking the spine to as high to the ceiling as you can and looking between the knees towards the toes. So inhaling, looking forward. So if you're on your chair, you're looking up. And then exhaling, looking through the knees. We'll do that once more. So looking forward. And then looking between the knees. So we're going to go a bit further with this. We're going to work with a little bit of a balance. So if you're on a stool or a chair, because you can't do this with knees, then what you can do here is you can come to this position. That's a bit low actually, but it's okay, to this position. And we're going to be doing a little balance here with the legs. So you can do that if that feels okay. Or you can do it with a chair, which makes it a bit higher. Okay, but if you're on all fours, we're just extending this a little bit further. So all we're doing is we're going to, on the inhale, when we're looking forward, we're going to bring one leg, doesn't matter which one leg behind us. I'll just move my chair over. One leg behind us, and then if you feel okay to do this on this is just watch me at the moment, this is this same inhale. If you feel okay to do this, you can lift the opposite arm. If that feels okay to do it, do it. If not, don't do it, okay? Then on the exhale, we're going to bring the hand down and we're going to bring this knee and try and touch the nose to the knee. And we're just going to do that a few times. So inhaling, the hand as if you're shaking someone's hand, stretching back that toe. Exhaling, bringing that hand down and taking the nose to the knee. Let's do that a couple more times on this side. And the nose to the knee. Beautiful. So we do it on the other side now. Okay. So inhaling, the other foot comes back and the other hand goes out. Exhaling, that hand comes down, nose to knee. Once more. Beautiful. Okay, so we're now going to come into a resting position and we're going to use some sound to help us release, because we've just been doing quite a lot of work. So it's really good to use sound to actually release the toxins from the body that have been kind of dislodged by the movements that we've been making. So what we're going to do is we're going to just bring the if you can, bring the forehead to the ground. I've got my toes together, my knees are out a little bit. I've just sat back onto my heels, right? If this isn't possible for you, you could just do it on a chair, sit on a stool or a chair, just sit and just lower your top half down. If you can't put your forehead onto the ground, then you can put your hands under here or fists or something. If you can, then just releasing the forehead down, and we're going to take some breaths in and some big sighs out and make some big noise. Just really releasing. So breathing in. Lovely. Okay. So, coming back up. Hopefully you all feel okay. So we're now going to move into the next bit of our thing, which is where we're going to begin to come up gradually. We're going to begin to come up to standing. But first of all, we're going to do what you know my students say is their favourite pose, which is what's called the toe squat. So if you've got toes that are really stiff and sore, then just being in a high kneeling like this, if that's possible for you, is absolutely fine. Or if you can't do the knees, you can sit on the chair or the stool and just do it like this. So we're just exercising the toes, really. If you can do it, then coming, and you can sit down on your toes. It's just really good. I mean, I've got used to this over time because I've been doing it a lot, but you know, I used to find it really difficult. So just sitting onto the toes, and we're just going to warm up the wrists and the elbows and the shoulders. So doing some rotations with the hands and the wrists, okay? Going both ways. Then bringing the elbows into this. So I'm kind of turning, this is still doing the wrists, but it's also doing the elbows. Trying to go into every movement that the elbow makes, okay? And now we're going to take the hands and we're going to put them onto the shoulders. We're going to, on an exhale, bring the elbows together so they touch, and then inhaling, make huge circles. Exhaling, bringing the elbows together. Lovely, once more. And then the other way. So inhaling, exhaling, inhaling, exhaling. Once more, inhaling, exhaling. Lovely. Okay, so I can feel that in my toes a bit now. So now if you can do this, then you can do it. If you can't and you need to be on a chair, you can be on a chair. So I'm going to rock back into a squat on my toes. If that's not possible, you can just sit on your chair and have on your stool and have your feet in this position. And what we're going to do now is we're going to lift our bottoms up and take our heads down. Now I can't stay here for long because I had a tooth out yesterday, so I'm really not meant to do inversions for long. But so I might just come up, but I'll talk through what you're doing. So what I'm going to do, I'll just show you. So I'm taking my head down, lifting my bottom up like this, and I'm hanging here, just really hanging. Knees are nice and bent, knees are really bent, hanging here, and I'm going to take my elbows and I'm going to come up because I can feel it a bit. But so what you're doing is you're holding onto your elbows in this, it's called a standing forward bend, Uttanasana. So, and just allowing the upper body to hang. It's also known as ragdoll, the ragdoll pose. So you're just really allowing the top of the body to hang. So it shouldn't be a big pull on here. If it is, then bend the knees more and just allow yourself to drop more. It's much more to do with a opening in the lower back. So just really allowing yourself to hang here. Okay, so what we're going to do is from that position, so I can come back in here quickly, from that position, I want you now to take your elbows onto your knees and look forward, so you're looking at me. So looking forward like this. So I've got knees bent, really bent, and I'm looking forward, yeah, like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try and keep the legs in exactly the same position, bringing the palms to the top of the knees, and then straightening the arms, right? So the legs haven't moved at all, right? I'm just going to move this screen a little bit so that hopefully you'll be able to see me. So the legs haven't moved at all. We've got straight arms, right? And at this point, we're going to take the arms forward So I'm turned like this. So I'm like this, okay? And now I'm going to stay in this position, but see if I can lift my arms. It's quite intense, this pose. So just feeling it, being with it. I'm gazing up between my hands, just feeling this pose. It's called the chair. It's really quite intense. Lovely. Breathing, and then we're just going to come up gently, arms ahead, arms above our head. I'm going to move my screen again in a minute, and then bring the arms down. So I think I'm okay at that, but I'm going to actually move my mat so that hopefully you'll be able to see all of me now, because we're going to do some standing poses. Okay, so hopefully you can see all of me. Just bring my notes. So we come up from the chair, and we're going to stand now for a little while in what's called mountain pose or Tadasana. So look down. I invite you to look at your feet and to really make sure that your feet are facing forwards. If they really can't because you've got a hip out or something and you need to, that's fine. But we're just kind of taking ourselves into this intention of having our feet facing right forward. Okay. And your arms are just gently, loosely by the sides. This is a really solid pose. So we're just standing, being aware of the weight distributed evenly between all four corners of each foot, and being aware of the same amount of weight in each foot. So if you think about it and you think, maybe I've got more weight in one foot than the other, just slightly move the weight so that you feel like you've got equal amounts. We're going to be aware as well, maybe you need to take a couple of, I feel like I need to just take a couple of circles with the shoulders and the other way, just to sort of really find myself here. Okay. So the knees, the legs are straight, but the knees are not locked. So they're gentle. There's a gentleness in the knees. The shoulders are completely relaxed away from the ears. The chin is slightly down so that the throat is open. And we're just standing here, breathing through the nose. If you can't breathe through the nose, breathe through the mouth. Gentle, natural breath. We are as steady and strong as the mountain, feeling ourselves growing up from the earth and grounding down into the earth all at the same time. Beautiful. Lovely. Right, we're just going to take a couple of poses to move us into what is going to be the main pose of the practice today. So what I'd like you to do is to bring your arms up and over your head. And I hope you can see me. I'm taking my right wrist with my left hand. So it may be that you're going to mirror that. Yeah, so you would probably take your left hand with your right wrist. Okay, left wrist with your right hand. Just ignore me. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a side bend over towards the hand that's got hold of the other one. I'm not very good with my left and right. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're trying to be as straight up as we can, and we're going to try and concentrate on the weight remaining the same in both feet, which will mean that the hip needs to come out the opposite way. Okay, and I'm taking a side bend, and to make sure that I'm not kind of coming over like this, I'm going to take a little look up under my left armpit, which may well be your right one. Breathing here. Lovely. Then come back up to the top. Let go again. Let's have a little stretch up as high as we can. And then taking the opposite. So I'm now grabbing my left wrist with my right hand. So I'm now going to take a slight side bend over to the other way, making sure that the weight is equally distributed in the feet, so my hips come out a bit the other way, and taking a little look up. This is just opening the side a little bit. Beautiful. Bringing the arms up, and then we're going to bring them down. Now we're going to do a little bit of balancing here. So if balancing is a problem for you, because we're working towards the posture of the tree here. So if balance is a problem, have a chair. Have something right next to you that you can hold onto like this, that can when you're lifting your legs, that it can just give you balance. There's no reason of having to try and instantly being excellent at balancing. You know, these are things that come with practice. So if you need a chair, use a chair, please. So we're going back to Tadasana here. This really, really standard standing pose. Okay, and we're going to begin just by doing, just do a bit of that if you want to, and then we're going to just begin by just taking the weight over onto one leg. I'm taking it onto the left, so you may take it onto the right if you want to, if you want to mirror me. And I'm just lifting the heel of the other foot off the ground, and that in itself is a bit of a balance. Okay, and I'm just going to start to take some little circles with this leg. So I'm just preparing for the tree pose, just gently. I can feel as I do that my hip is a bit clunky. So just being with what is with your body. If you need to take a rest and come back into the middle, that's fine. Then we're going to go the other way. Okay. And then we're going to do it on the other leg. So just lifting it up to begin with, just onto the toes. And then maybe even just taking a bit here if you feel a bit wobbly. If you feel like you can come and take the foot off the ground and do a bit of rotating of this hip like this, that's great. Okay, ooh, she says. Right, so we're going to do that again, but we're going to go a bit further with it. I mean, if what we did there feels like it's enough for you, just do that again. If you feel you can do more, I suggest you bring arms out, because it just gives you a bit of extra balance. And we're going to take our leg up and around more here. So we're kind of really opening up this hip, really warming up this hip, ready for the tree, and then coming the other way. Beautiful. Lovely. So we'll do the same on the other side. I mean, we've warmed up the hips already because we did it at the beginning, but this is kind of beginning to get the balance as well, which we're going to be doing. I can feel I'm a little bit out of practice with this. I'm a bit wobbly today. I did have a tooth out yesterday, so I am a bit wobbly anyway. But so there we go. We're ready probably for our tree pose. So I want to really invite all of you to be as gentle and as kind on yourselves as you possibly can. So, you know, that we don't automatically have to go into the tree. We just don't have to, right? We can begin by lifting. I'm going to start with the right leg, so you might do the opposite. We're going to begin by lifting the heel off the ground and just turning the heel towards the other ankle and just resting it onto the ankle. Now, so you've got a little bit of an abduction with this leg. So this has sort of opened up this hip here, and that in itself is a tree pose. Yeah. So if this is enough for you, and you want to come up and come into the tree pose and do whatever you want to do, take a mudra or do the hands together at the top or whatever, and that feels like it's as much as you want to do, then please stick with that. You know, that's perfect. But if, however, you feel like you want to try and actually go for the balance, look down, make sure, I'm moving my foot a bit, make sure that your foot is pointing as forward as you can make it. Yeah? I like to have my arms out, gives me a little bit more balance. And I'm just going to now lift this foot slightly off and just put it onto my lower leg here. Again, this might be amply enough for you. I don't want to sit, well, I can't see you, you know, but I'm really inviting you not to put the knee onto the knee, not the foot onto the knee rather. So you can either go here, and this is perfectly good a balance. In some ways, it's harder than having the leg up. So doing whatever you want to do here, lovely chin mudra with the thumb and the forefinger together, that's beautiful. Or the hands together above the head, or even just keeping that arms out here for balance. Yeah, so, oh, I can feel myself. So, you know, this really, really might be enough for you. So, you know, if you're kind of feeling, oh yeah, well, okay, I can do this, then, you know, try having the full tree pose. But this is really, it's not a competition. This is really, you know, I do actually honestly find this pose easier than having the leg on the lower, the foot on the lower leg. So I don't, just because it looks more impressive, it doesn't actually mean that it's actually easier. So just really working with that. Okay, we'll do it again. Well, we'll do it on the other side, and then we'll come back and do it again on both sides. So starting with the other leg, just lifting the toes. So lifting the heel, lifting the heel off the ground. So you're just on the toes and just twisting that. Having a look down, making sure your foot's straight out in front, and just resting that heel onto the ankle. And I just like to turn the palms up because it sort of opens the chest here. So we've got this rotation of hip, the abduction of that leg, and we're just looking forward. Beautiful. So as I say, this might be totally enough for you. And this is a balance in itself, but if you want to come further, as I say, you know, in some ways I do find this harder than having the leg up high. Beautiful. So I will bring my leg up because I did it on the other side to give myself, so I've done it equally. Whoops, you see, there we go. So let's do it again on either side. So on both sides. So you choose which you're going to do. Yeah, and I just really invite you to not push yourself. I'm not saying take a cop out, but I'm saying do the thing that feels the most comfortable. Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So lifting the first foot up again and just putting it onto that ankle, making sure that the other foot is facing straight forward. I like to bring the arms up, bringing that foot onto here. And then if you want to invite this leg up into the tree pose, to the high pose position, that's beautiful. And let's just breathe here, wherever you are, breathing. Beautiful. Lovely. So we'll release down again and we'll do it on the other side. So maybe just taking a few steps onto both feet. Lovely. So making sure this foot's facing forwards, toes up, heel onto ankle. And then putting this foot onto the lower leg. Whoa. And then if it feels right for you, whoa, am I going to be able to do it? She says, whoa, I am a bit out of practice with this tree. I haven't done it for a while. Super duper. Lovely. So let's release down. Okay. So to give ourselves a little bit of a counter to begin with from that, just come back into Tadasana, so the standing mountain pose, and we're just going to take some little sways round. So we're taking some little rotations at the top, so allow the hands to flop, the arms just to flop, the hands to just flop against the body. Just giving thanks for this amazing body that does incredible things for us every single moment of every day. Lovely. So I'm going to invite you now, I'm going to bring my mat back forward. Again, I'm going to invite you to come down onto the mat again. We're going to take a little bit of a rest here before we do the counters. So you can either come down into child's pose, which is where you come down like this into all fours, knees apart, coming down like we did at the beginning, only this time we're taking the hands behind us. You can either do that. I'm finding that not so great because of my tooth, so another good way of doing another lovely resting pose, just come straight down onto the front. But instead of having the feet like this, have them with the toes pointing out, like that. Arms, elbows out to the side, hands underneath. We put the forehead onto the hands, and we're just going to make some of those sigh out noises here. So breathing in. Oh, really let it all out. Ah, this is called the crocodile. Ah, lovely. So stay there for a moment if you want to. And we're just going to do a couple of other little counters. So if you're ready, roll over onto your back. We're going to come back into semi-supine. Okay. With the palms facing down, knees nice and close to the bottom, but not too close. Okay, and we're just going to do a very gentle bridge pose. So just on the inhale, just pushing the feet into the ground and just lifting the hips very gently, just to where feels good for you. So not pushing anything, making sure that you're trying to keep the knees together, and then exhaling down again. Just working with your own breath. Just inhaling up and exhaling down. Making sure you don't turn your head, so the gaze just continues up to the ceiling. Inhaling, bringing the hips up. Just doing this in your own time, so it doesn't matter if you're not doing it with me. And then exhaling down. Lovely. So do that once more. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Beautiful. So just now bring your knees into the chest. Give yourself a little bit of a rock on the back. So we're going to do a little spinal twist here, which is a nice counter for sort of everything. But anyone who's pregnant or has got any problems, lower back problems or whatever, and doesn't, I mean, it can be helpful if you don't have lower back problems, but anyone who has any kind of issues, the at all, please don't do this, just stay with the rocking or whatever feels comfortable. But if you're okay, I've got my left hand onto my right knee, taking the other arm out at shoulder height, and then just dropping the knees down. If that doesn't feel comfortable, just don't do it. So I'm just dropping it, and I've got my this shoulder is on the ground, so I'm going to turn my head to the other way, and just breathe a couple of times there. Lovely. So bringing the knees back into the chest very gently, and then exhaling again, taking this arm out to shoulder height, dropping these knees down. So actually this side, my shoulder isn't on the ground, so I'm going to keep my gaze up to the top. If your shoulder's really on the ground, then you can turn your head that way, but it's better if it's not, just to look straight up. Just breathing here. Beautiful. So bringing the knees back into the chest, giving yourself a really good hug, and if you want to, just lifting the head up. Beautiful. Lovely. So rolling over onto one side, we've got just a few minutes left. We've got about 10 minutes left, so I'm going to invite you to come up to sitting. Okay, and you can be, as I say, you can be on your stool or your chair, or if you're comfortable on the floor, you can be on your block or your cushion. Okay, and we are going to just come into a comfortable seated position. I'm going to do some breathing with you. It's just very basic yogic breathing, and then I'll do a very gentle and fairly short for me relaxation with you. Okay, so just landing here after your exertion, just landing here in a comfortable seat. Place your hands somewhere comfortably on the body. If you want to take a mudra, you can take the chin mudra with the thumb and the forefingers together. If you have them resting down like this, so the palm is down, that's more of a sort of internal energy. If you want to be more open to, you know, whatever, the universe, you can have the backs of your hands on the ground with this mudra. And this just makes it much more of a sort of open-hearted feel. I'm feeling like having mine down. Lovely. So I'm just going to invite you to bring your awareness to your natural breath and how it's feeling. So just feeling how your lungs are just with your natural breath. So we're not bringing extra air into the lungs at the moment. We're just being aware of what's moving in and out through the nose. So perhaps being aware of coolness as the air moves through the nostrils into the body, and the warmth as the air moves out of the body through the nose. Lovely. So we're just very quickly, I normally spend a lot longer on this, we're just going to very quickly become aware of the 3 areas of the lungs. So breathing in and taking that air directly right down to the very lowest part of the lungs where the diaphragm is. So as you breathe in, again, it's just your natural, it's not a big breath, it's just a natural breath. As you breathe in, you'll feel the abdomen rise as you take the breath right down into the very lowest part of the lungs. And then as the air comes out of the body, you just feel the abdomen moving back towards the spine. So breathing in, right down into the lowest part of the lungs. The abdomen moves, expands. And exhale, just releasing naturally the air moving out of the body, the abdomen coming back to its resting place. We'll do that a couple more times. Beautiful. So we're now going to make a change. This time we're going to bring the awareness of the air as it comes into the breath, coming right into the central part of the body, so where the rib cage is, the central part of where the lungs are. So as you breathe in, you're feeling the rib cage expanding, both sides and front and back. So breathing in. And then releasing the air. So trying to be aware of the shoulders remaining relaxed away from the ears as you breathe in. And then just allowing the body to just come back to its resting place as you exhale. Doing that a couple more times. Beautiful. So now we're going to make a change again. We're going to come into the very top of the lungs, right where the collarbones are. So as you're breathing in, it'll feel very shallow. You're breathing right up into the very top of your lungs. So this bit is not being filled at all, really. So the shoulders will move a bit, but just still trying to be aware of keeping them relaxed. Beautiful. So just really working with this upper chest. The air just filling the very top of the lungs. Lovely. So now we're going to make the final change to this breathing practice, which is that we're going to incorporate all three areas of this, and we're literally only just going to be doing this for about a couple of minutes at most. So we're going to bring the air right down into the abdomen, then taking it into the middle of the chest, and then taking it to the top of the chest. By the time it comes to the top, your lungs will be fully expanded to the amount of air they can hold. There'll be a little pause at the top, and then exhaling, just releasing the air as it just comes out very naturally. And then breathing in again, from the bottom to the middle to the top, tiny pause at the top, and just releasing. So just doing this in your own time, and we're not pushing any air out at the end. We're just coming to a relaxing place at the bottom where there's another little pause, and then starting again, okay? Lovely, beautiful. So if I was teaching my full class, doing a whole hour and a half, I'd be spending a lot more time on that. But so we'll bring that to a close. I'm now going to invite you to lie down on your back, and this time we're coming out into Shavasana, or what's called corpse pose. So this time bringing the feet down, actually come down with the knees up to begin with, just to support the back and the abdomen muscles. Once you come down onto the back, then taking the feet out to mat width apart and allowing the feet just to flop out, just relax. Taking the arms a little away from the body with the hands just gently lying with the palms facing up by the sides, chin slightly down away from the ears, and if you're comfortable to do so, just closing the eyes. Okay, so you're just relaxing down there. I'm going to come back up. So you stay down there, making sure that you're as comfortable as you possibly can be. And I'm just going to do a couple of minutes, 3 or 4 minutes with you, doing a gentle body parts relaxation. So just relaxing into the mat, feeling yourself right here in the now. Taking a little gentle breath, if that helps. Breath in and releasing down. And just being present here in this moment. So I invite you please to take your attention to your right toes. Your big toe, the next toe, the next one, the next one, and the little toe. Take your attention please to the sole of your right foot, to the heel of your right foot, to the top of your right foot. Now please take your attention to your left big toe, to the next one and the next one, and the next one and the little toe on the left foot. Take your attention to the top of the left foot, to the sole of the left foot, to the heel of the left foot, to all of the left foot. Now taking your attention please to both of your ankles, left and right. Take your attention to both of your lower legs, front and back. Take your attention to both your knees, front of the knees, the back of the knees. Take your attention to both of the upper legs, the biggest bones and muscles in the body. Take your attention please to the pelvis, the front of the pelvis, the back of the pelvis, the hip joints, all the organs of the pelvis, the genitals, the bladder, the womb if you have one. Move your attention up into the lower abdomen and the lower back. Moving your attention into the rib cage, the front of the rib cage, the back of the rib cage, the spine, the lungs, all the organs of the torso, the heart, the intestines, the liver, all of the kidneys, everything that's in the torso. Then please moving your attention into the shoulders, the fronts of the shoulders, the backs of the shoulders, the scapulars, the top of the chest, the collarbones. Then moving your attention down to the tops of the arms, moving down into the elbows. Then moving into the lower arms and into the wrists. Then moving your attention into the backs of the hands, into the thumbs, the forefingers, the middle fingers, the ring fingers, the little fingers, into the palms of the hands. Then bringing your attention back up through the arms, back through the shoulders and into the neck. All at the front of the neck, the back of the neck, the throat, up into the jawbone, the tongue, the teeth, the lips, the nose, the eyes, the forehead, the top of the head, the back of the head, the ears, the cheeks. Now please taking your attention from the top of the head right down through the body to the very tips of the toes. Taking your attention from the neck down through the shoulders into the tips of the fingers. And now just being with yourself for a few moments in silence. Beautiful. So bringing your attention, please, back into your body, making a few gentle movements with your toes and your fingers. If you want to bring your knees into your chest and roll over onto one side and sit up to be with me here in sitting, you can. Otherwise, you can just stay down in Shavasana. And if you are sitting up now, you can bring your hands into prayer position if you want to join me in 3 Oms to end the practice. Breathing in to begin. Beautiful, just being with that vibration for a few moments. May you have peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, peace in your heart. Gratitude for Mother Earth. Namaste, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so honoured to be sharing this space with you. And so just to end the practice, just to say thank you so much for inviting me, Ragnar Fringe. I feel so honoured to have been asked to hold this space. My name again is Philippa Hedger. I teach from this space on Zoom on a Tuesday evening between, I can't remember what times, I think it's between 5 and 6:30 on a Tuesday evening. Oh, maybe it's, I can't even remember. Anyway, if you need to get in contact with me, my email is philippaHedger@hotmail.co.uk, or if you're on Facebook, you can PM me, and I'm really up for people coming and joining. I also am doing some pre-recorded, like this, hour-long pre-recorded lessons, which I'm really happy as well to be sharing with people. That's very private, so you can only get those if you're actually linked in with me. So beautiful, thank you so much. I've gone a tiny bit over the hour, but hopefully that's okay. Blessed be to everybody, and hopefully we'll all be able to meet again soon and do yoga together. Whoa! So thank you very much again, and see you all soon. Bye bye.